will start alone now. This is really tough. This is tough. Children's Art Workshop is a yearly based activity that we have with every season. Usually, we try to help children to be exposed to art and history and develop different techniques where at the end of the year they try to utilize all their efforts and all their learning to produce a product, whether it was a play or a film or even a journal. This year was very special. For the second time ever, we have kids curating their own exhibition. We started in October with no idea what we will end up with. And over the weeks, the kids and I were discovering new things. Even for me, I'm learning from them. So what we started with, we had to select what is the topic of this exhibition, what we are trying to share with other people. And through voting, kids were given different ideas. They started with games or kings and queens and ended up with voting to have nature. They wanted to show objects that has elements of nature around them. And we started to see 4,000 pieces. The kids had to go through 4,000 pieces that has different designs of nature from all over the world, from different centuries. And for the first time, they had to select at least 10% because it's such an enormous amount of objects. They went from 4,000 to 400 based only on what they like, on things that just caught their attention. And therefore, we were very focused on those 400 pieces where they studied them. They had to go through every single piece and start to think, why do I want to show them to others? What is so special about it? Why does it stand out? And for every child, he had to write. And this is the beautiful part. They needed to express themselves in writing and in speaking to others and trying to convince others which of these pieces are worth to be part of this exhibition. The whole process of selecting and voting and presenting was very beautiful. Kids were learning from each other, and the most interesting part was learning vocabulary. They would stop each other to ask other kids, what does that mean, or what are you trying to say? So writing all of that, this is very individual, personalized look about these objects that were created could be for very different reasons, but the kids have a very personal connection with them. So after we've done that, we needed to create a connecting theme. The connecting theme was extremely challenging because we didn't want to do something simple. We tried from the very classic way of showing objects, from oldest to newest. It wasn't interesting enough. We tried with the sizes and colors and origins, but trying harder and harder and working in teams. Working with teams, discussing, and the critical thinking. They had to criticize each other's ideas to make it move to the next level. So they came up with the mirrored nature as a larger theme. And through that idea, they came up with stories from nature. At the very beginning, it was very hard to construct that. You look at these different objects and how can you connect them in a different way other than the connecting country or the connecting century they were created in. But with all these different attempts happening with time, they started to come up with a very interesting concept, which is things that they were learning from school. How about we connect these objects to tell the story of the universe? How about we start talking about the solar system through objects And for me, I didn't even understand what they were talking about at the beginning until they laid it down and they start to say, well, this will be the sun. And all of a sudden, I can see that object, which is from India in the 9th century, to look exactly like the sun. And this will be Mercury, and that is Earth. And you can see there's the water and there's the land. And all of a sudden, yes, I can see the entire solar system by the way they just put all these objects together. And they started to tell me about the star life cycle, which I've never heard of. And then the water cycle and a wave cycle and a rock cycle. And they started to create all these different stories, which all of you are going to see right now when you look at the exhibition. So that was phenomenal. What's so important now is they worked as a group all together, and they were sharing their ideas. They were developing it over time. And it is amazing, especially because it is kind of complicated. So now when you go to the exhibition and you start to see, you will see a big layer that shows groups of objects working together to tell a story. But on top of that, you will find a deeper layer that every single object individually has its own story. And that was all done by them. They keep on amazing me. After creating the content, the theme, the layout of the exhibition, they went ahead and started the other layer where they had to think about the design of it, how they will create a logo that represents their idea, what would be the full name. So now it's Mirrored Nature, the full circle, which is very representative of what they're trying to say. So they created their logo, they chose their colors, they are creating panels to help the visitors to understand what is the message that they're trying to communicate. Over the time, we had many challenges, we had many attempts, many trials, but they keep on going, and every single week they produce a product that takes us to the next level and help to create something that they're very proud of, very proud to share.
The big group photo that will be our official group photo.
The most important aspect of the Children's Art Workshop is to create a space for children where they can work collaboratively, where they can communicate their ideas and express their feelings openly, where they are working to be very creative, and they can criticize and identify how to develop their work. So creativity, collaboration, communication, and critical thinking is what we're trying a lot to develop with the children here in the Children's Art Workshop. They've worked really hard and they've produced a wonderful product, and I hope everybody enjoys it.